Welcome everybody. It's episode 427 of the SevereMMA podcast. My name is Sean Sheehan, joined today by the Derek Ling of Irish MMA Media, Ian O'Neill, because all Graham McDonald's away on holiday, so Ian is stepping in the early morning over in Canada to join me to talk about a busy weekend in mixed martial arts. Before we get to all of that, let me tell you that this episode of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, it's about unleashing the beach beast within you, because this summer, Manscaped is here to help you level up your beach game with their new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. They're going past waist deep in the grooming game and diving in head first to your facial hair fantasies. The Beard Hedger is a game changer, allowing you to shape your beard like a true beach babe. So this summer, let the beach balls bounce and turn heads all over the place. Visit manscaped.com. Use the code SevereMMA for 20% off and free shipping. I've been using Manscaped now for a good couple of years, and it's the best in the game. And it's time to tame your mane with the best in the game. I just made that up there. It was brilliant. So say goodbye to all your stubble with Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit. First of all, the Beard Hedger cordless trimmer roller wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths all in one guard. I've been looking for something like this for a very long time. I hate all those messy drawers full of add-ons. Absolutely terrible. It's waterproof too, so you can shave in the shower and avoid all that sink hair and all of that. So get your setting maybe at the sink next time. From then on, you know exactly what setting you have, and in the shower, absolutely perfect. Titanium coated T-blade. It's tough on hair but smooth on your face. Single stroke efficiency and ultimate satisfaction. It doesn't end there though. The Pro Kit also has dermatologically tested formulations for your post-trim care. First, there is the beard shampoo and conditioner. Everyone knows I said this before. I've used that for a long time, because all your hair is different. You need different shampoo, different conditioner for different parts of your hair. It's more coarse on your beard and all of that. So the shampoo and conditioner is specifically made to moisturize, reduce ingrown hairs, and replace natural oils as well. Absolutely brilliant for beard health. Next of all is the beard oil, which helps relieve dryness both on the beard and the skin beneath, adding a little shimmer and shine. And to cap it off then is the beard balm. It's a pomade that shapes, styles, moisturizes and tames for the sculpted look to attract any fellows or dames. The Pro Beard Kit also comes with 3 free gifts: a beard brush, comb and scissors. When I was young, I used to say scissors and hopsitle instead of hospital. Anyway, you'll be going to no hospital with Manscaped, because their products are absolutely brilliant. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code SevereMMA at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped.com using the code SevereMMA. Manscaped's Beard Hedger, 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 links. And you know what? First impressions, they do matter. There's no 2 ways about it, and your face is most likely the first thing that someone notices. So once you're done with your Beard Hedger over at Manscaped, how about thinking about your skin? How your skin looks is going to determine good or bad the first impression. And you know what? Let's decide it's time to stop putting yourself second and put your best face forward. Start using Caldera Lab to do so. Clinically proven to reduce wrinkles, fine lines. Geez, I'm brilliant at reading these ads. I'm absolutely fantastic. It reduces signs of aging. It's a leader in men's skincare and is here to save the day and your confidence. Use the code SevereMMA at calderalab.com to enjoy 20% off their breast products. Best products. Did I say breast products there? They're not breast products. They're actually face products. calderalab.com. CILDERALAB.com. As I said, it's the first impression that matters, and Caldera Lab creates high performance men's skincare products to help with that. The regimen, twice a day formula to transform your skin. And the best part, it's super easy. Literally takes 30 seconds in the morning, 30 seconds at night. The little time for huge benefits is absolutely and utterly worth it. It's like, you brush your teeth. You do it once a day, maybe it doesn't make a big difference, but you do it for a week and it makes a massive difference. You don't do it for a week, you can tell you haven't been doing it, can't you? That's exactly what Caldera Lab is like. Now for the fun stuff. What products does Caldera Lab offer? Let me tell you. First of all, the clean slate. It ends and it starts your day and ends your day. The face wash leaves all skin types refreshed. You'll apply the base layer right after to moisturize and hydrate your skin. Even better, it absorbs fast, leaving you with a matte finish. Start your day confidently. Then the good is your go-to at night. It's a fierce serum. It's a fierce good face serum. Clinically proven multifunctional serum that helps your skin look tighter and smoother, as well as helps reduce the visibility of wrinkles and fine lines. You want to take it a step further, use the Icon. It helps addressing the 3 most common types of skin concerns around the eye: fine lines, dark circles, and puffiness. Caldera Lab is made with top-tier ingredients and a legit showstopper that is good for you today and in the long run. All it takes is 30 seconds in the morning, 30 seconds at night, probably a little bit longer. Trust me, it's about time I got my skincare unlocked for the better. Doesn't get any easier than this. So our call to action is this: get 20% off using our code SevereMMA at calderalab.com. It's 20% off at calderalab.com. By using the code SevereMMA. Jump into skin and first impression royalty at Caldera Lab. Right, Ian, let's get straight into it. UFC 291 literally finished moments ago, and the first thing you said to me when we started, it was a good card. And we spoke last week on the preview, and I think both of us agreed it was a good card. Maybe not so much Harry, but like, when that Wonderboy and Pereira fight fell off, and we will talk about that again in a second, it went for me like a good card to one. I'm like, oh shit, this might be like kind of hard to get through at times, because like I always feel like, and we were kind of discussing this beforehand as well, that third from last fight is often the fight, you know, for me, especially at fucking 3:30 in the morning or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever it might be. It can be tough to get through. And when that fell out, it was like, oh shit, but it did deliver, thankfully. The way, do you know what I liked as well? The way they had the card laid out was good. They stuck by that, and they replaced that third last fight with the Derek Lewis third last fight, which was the perfect third last fight, and it was good. So not only was the card good, but also all the fight placement on the card was pretty good, you know. And I do think, in a card that didn't have a real title on it, you know, with maybe a number one contender in the top 2 fights, but maybe not as well. You never know. It was, I say, if you were paying the pay-per-view prices, it was worth it, because it did deliver.
It definitely did. And, you know, I think a key to a good card is getting a solid preliminary fights as well. And I think what we had 5 out of 6 finishes on the prelims as well. That always helps too. The pacing of the card was decent enough as well. And yeah, we got our talking points on the main card. Was a big worry for me as well. I always love watching Wonderboy fight, and that Pereira fight falling out. He was right not to take it, like you said. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But I was worried too. But like you said, Derek Lewis inserted into the main card, delivered, gave us a good moment, and I think it added to the overall kind of entertainment factor of the card in its entirety.
Let's talk about the main event some and get into all the moving parts and the rest of the card, because I thought it was a very, very interesting fight and a very interesting finish, obviously, as well. Gaethje got the big knockout on the 6-minute mark. Exactly, I think it was. Let me just check there again. Yeah, it was indeed. Do you know, they made the comparisons with the Leon Edwards high kick, and I suppose there was a bit of that. You know, he kind of threw the lead hand and then the back leg to get the knockout. But I'll put it to you, Ian, here, and I can retract this if you disagree with me. It might be this week's the retraction, but I thought this was a Trevor Whitman masterclass. And it was funny because I listening to Din Thomas, Din Thomas is not bad, but when Trevor Whitman used to do that job, he was like so much better. And I think like he's probably the best coach in MMA. And I say that here because I believe that shot was landed not because of the head kick, not because of the lead hand, but I think because of the left hook that was being thrown constantly throughout the first round. Like, Poirier was always going to lead that fight. He led the first time. we know he's going to walk through the leg kicks like he did. Maybe one of them will catch him, all well and good, and finish him or whatever. But if they don't, he is going to win that battle. We know he's the more technical fighter, so he's going to be able to win that battle more. So for Gaethje, it was all about kind of laying traps, setting him up, putting him in a place where like he wants to be, but you can take the initiative from there. And I spoke coming in, and I said it straight out. I was like, I think it's actually easier for Poirier to adjust and win this fight than Gaethje, but I was 100% wrong. They acknowledged I don't know what they acknowledged it publicly, but privately they acknowledged that Poirier is a better technical fighter than Gaethje, and Gaethje used that to his advantage. He let him be the more technical fighter, and he tried to counter him, left hook after left hook after left hook, and in the second round came, Poirier attacked, and what's he going to counter him with? Of course he's going to counter him with the left hook, but no, and Poirier moves his head away from the left hook, but the left hook never came. And what came? The right high kick right over the top, the other side, where he dipped his head to, bang, gone. And it was funny because Gaethje was the one dipping the head that was almost getting head kicked or almost getting kneed. Now, maybe this is going too far, but was that part of it? Was that a part of it to get Poirier thinking about that? Oh, I'm going to land the head kick. I'm going to land the head kick. I'm going to land the head kick. And who gets head kicked? Poirier himself. Maybe I'm calling Trevor Whitman too much of a genius, but God Almighty, it was a great game plan, and it worked to an absolute T.
The old tinfoil hats have been in full force this week with all the news coming from about UFOs and everything, and it's firmly on Shawnee's head on Gaethje's performance. But I was the same as you, Shawnee. I simply didn't know how Gaethje was going to be able to do it after watching the first fight. But what we've seen that has been different in Gaethje's game is a lot of patience, and those traps with the help of Trevor Whitman were just brilliant. And I mean, the credit needs to go to Trevor Whitman, and we've talked about him time and time again, but like just the body of work that even if you just look at Gaethje himself and what the fighter that he's turned him into is like that. I've likened Gaethje to like a wild animal or a wild lion that's, just liable to just explode and do anything. And it's cost him so much in previous fights, but Trevor Whitman has managed to kind of train that out of him. And what he did tonight and his biggest asset was his patience, not getting drawn in like he did in the first fight and getting countered. He got drawn in and countered in the first fight. He didn't get drawn in and he didn't get countered. One big shot landed from Poirier in the first round, but that was pretty much about it. And I mean, just an excellent performance from Justin Gaethje, and he proves that he has another title run in him. Whether that's next or not, it's going to be hard to tell. But I mean, he must have came out with that fight pretty much unscathed, and it'd be interesting to see if they line him up as a backup fighter or something for Makhachev and Oliveira. But I think the story of the night is the redefined game of Justin Gaethje. Yeah, and it wasn't even necessarily that Poirier was doing badly. He probably won the first round. Like it was close enough, and he landed the biggest shot in it. So like Gaethje's plan, I'd say that they knew. Look, both guys knew to win that fight are going to have to take a few big shots. Like there's no avoiding it for either of them to get through that. I thought Poirier looked a little bit hesitant and less flowy than he normally is. And I don't know whether that's him being a little bit slightly worried at being at higher altitude and not kind of overexerting himself in the early stages of the fight.
Yeah, I think part of it maybe was that, but I think part of it too was that Gaethje did come out like more defensive than you would expect. And when I say defensive is the wrong word, but more defensive than Justin Gaethje would normally be. Like he was throwing more counter shots than most fighters would normally be as well. But it's funny because our analysis coming in was, could Justin Gaethje maybe throw a few more leg kicks? Could Poirier tie up, maybe try to get a takedown? and there was no takedowns and probably less leg kicks. So our analysis wasn't exactly on point there coming in, to be fair. But
it's not so. I released the full video on how I thought Dustin Poirier. It always happens that way when you make the move to release a video highlighting the fact you think how one fighter's going to win. Down. Ends up getting brutally knocked out.
Yeah, it really is. It always happens like that. But yeah, like, it's funny. I said coming in, and I don't know, was I necessarily wrong, but I said coming in that I don't think Gaethje can win it by fighting and beating Poirier in a more technical way. And he did, but he didn't at the same time. Like, I think it was the trap. It was the technical trap to land the big shot that actually got him there. And it was almost more
Rogan had said that it was the first time that he threw it after the fight, but he had thrown it a couple of times in round one as well. Yeah, I mean, we were like, what is he talking about here? And, Poirier was rolling with it and blocking it well. But yeah, it was like that trap of the left hook, and he just walked him straight into that, and the ferocity that he threw. And we've seen him throw that high kick before as well. That was the kill shot. That was what they were planning for. He tried and tested it a couple of times in round one and fired off in round two. And that was the first time that we've seen Dustin Poirier, I believe, get knocked out since the Michael Johnson fight. I think it was the last time he got laid out like that. So
it was weird to see him get knocked down like that. Like, some fighters, you don't expect them. Like the first time McGregor got knocked out, and like, I don't know, like Ronda Rousey, obviously, when she got knocked out, you just don't expect to see people like that. Come here to me though. I want to ask you about the knockout, because you said there a few of them hit off the hands and they got blocked. The knockout kick got hit off the hand and blocked. Like, it was massive. I would say it was like 75% blocked, but it kind of hit him, and when it hits him in that kind of the stem to it wasn't the back of the head, but like the side of the neck, back of the head one there. Sometimes there was I'm not saying it's an illegal kick or anything, completely legal, they were moving and everything, but those ones, it's just the placement of them sometimes, Ian, isn't it? And I'm sure you've been hit with them in training a couple of times and stuff, but we see it a lot.
I got hit with them a good lot of times. It's not nice, but I think it was what happened before the kick as well. Gaethje baited out the lead hand of Dustin Poirier with his right hand, and the right hand never came. He hid the kick right behind it as well, which gave him that little bit more space to kind of land the kick in behind as well. But it landed with such force and impact. I mean, it went through the guard and hit kind of in around the back of the head, around the ear as well, and just totally stiffened Dustin. And I mean, with Gaethje now, it's, they still have the question marks over his grappling. What do you do with him? How do you match him up? I mean, I'm not too sure where we go from here.
My first thought, honestly, after this was trilogy. Like, yeah, he got knocked out the first time, Gaethje. He knocks him out this time. The title fight is another 3 months away. That means he'd have to sit out for like at least probably 7 months, if not more. We know Makhachev, if he wins, he's only going to be fighting once every 6 months, so it could be this time next year before he fights again. I'm not sure if Gaethje will want to do that, but it does seem like he is next in line. Like, there was a problem there for a while where there was a few people lining up, but then Oliveira fought Dariush. Dariush is now gone from the line. Oliveira is obviously getting the shot after kind of putting himself at the top of the line, I suppose. So when he has had that shot, maybe there's a trilogy there. If he wins it, we could see that too. And if not, it just does seem like Gaethje is there. There was a fight announced this week. Was it Fiziev against Gamrot was announced this week, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So that's another one there. But like, Fiziev just lost to Gaethje as well, so I'm not sure if they're going to put that one ahead of Gaethje. So you would think Gaethje is in prime time to get there next. I think that probably will happen. What do you think? Like, he seems like a guy now who's happy enough to wait after years of being the violence weight champion, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, we haven't mentioned the BMF title yet, but it opens maybe a couple of yeah, I know, for good reasons. That opens up a few avenues maybe for fights as well, where you could turn nothing fights into somewhat something like they did tonight with this fight. But I don't know, like when you're looking down the division, there's not too many. We spoke about it on the preview show. There's not too many people that are really knocking on the door or ready to knock on the door. Arman Saryukin is there, but I don't think after a performance like that, that Justin Gaethje deserves to fight down in the rankings again. I think he's going to be looking up, and it might be the likely outcome that we see this fight and we see the trilogy now, and we do kind of complain and give out a little bit of kind of rinsing and repeating fights at the top of the lightweight division and many other divisions, but this one and the trilogy does make sense, especially if Gaethje doesn't want to wait on the sideline. You never know what's going to happen with Islam and Charles either, so it's going to be very interesting to see what goes down now in the lightweight division. I
suppose the other two lads that are there are Chandler and McGregor, who are due to fight, but like, is that fight going to happen?
Chandler could come in, maybe he might take the fight again, but
Chandler, Gaethje just beat Chandler 18 months ago, or a little bit longer than that again. I don't know, is that one going to happen? So it does seem like a pretty clear path for Gaethje. I think Gaethje and McGregor would be a very fun fight, but still, the same issues there with McGregor with the whole USADA. Is he back in the thing? Is he not back in the thing? Who knows with that one? But I suppose that'll be one for another day. For Poirier, obviously we're recording right after, so we haven't seen the press conferences or anything. I could see Poirier retiring now, to be honest. He got his big, massive paydays against Conor McGregor. With that said as well, though, that McGregor fight is still out there. I think, the second that, the doctor stoppage fight happened, I think a lot of people's thoughts were this fight is going to happen again. And I think especially if Poirier had won the title that time, he'd probably still be sitting out with the title waiting for McGregor to come back. But do you retire or wait for that fight, or do you go after something else? If you are going after something else, as you said, Arian, it's probably going to be a Fiziev or a Saryukin or a Gamrot. Do you, maybe not Gamrot, but
that's it. Do you want to turn yourself into somewhat of a gatekeeper for the top five for the next couple of fights? Because that's the way it's going to be shaping out for Dustin Poirier, and he's got a big decision to make now when he sits down and assesses what went wrong next week. And like I said, it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say at the press conference. Even if he is, he might be even transported straight to the hospital after getting knocked out. He wasn't out cold, but it was a pretty, it takes a hell of a shot to get Dustin Poirier knocked out, and he took one there. So it'll be interesting if he does kind of turn up at the press conference. So I don't know. There's not too much more to get excited about really for Dustin Poirier, or even for fans to get excited about. Is he going to go on another title run? It's unlikely. Yeah, the Conor fight is there, but is he willing to wait around for it? Because it's been flirted. His comeback has been flirted for many, many months now, and it's not looking likely that's going to happen this year. So maybe the year off, maybe see what happens with Chandler and McGregor, and maybe you could do Poirier and McGregor 3, and I'd say that would be the last hurrah for Dustin Poirier. But he's going to have to take some time off after getting knocked out that badly. Yeah, that fight will probably make a lot of sense now, where maybe it didn't at times before, but we'll wait and see on that one. Let's talk about the co-main event first, and then we'll talk about the Wonderboy situation, because I thought this was an odd fight in so many different ways. They kept mentioning we're at altitude here, and we didn't see too much sign of it throughout any of the fights except this one. I think Blachowicz, the legendary Polish gas wasn't there after the 8th or 9th minute. He just completely and utterly gassed at this stage. They needed to throw some of that Polish coal in into the engine there in between rounds. It wasn't happening for him. He started off so well. I had said, you had said, the smartest thing to do, and I think that would be the case for anyone who's fighting Alex Bahia, is to shoot in for the takedown. And he looked super, super dominant in round one, took the back body triangle, working for the rear naked choke. About a minute and a half in, you would have been feeling fairly confident that Jan was going to go on and take this, but, didn't have the cuteness, I don't think, in his grappling to kind of set up that choke after being in such a good position. And, the longer the fight goes on and the more tired that you get, the less chance you have of taking Alex down. And, there's a lot of unknowns for Alex going into this fight as well. And how would he be able to stop a takedown and continue to stop? And it was actually the exact opposite. He wasn't able to stop them at the start. Normally when you stop them at the start, you'll slowly wear yourself out and wear yourself down, where if you're really insistent with your wrestling, and Jan tried to be, but he got too tired, eventually you'll kind of break somebody. But it was quite the opposite. It was Jan tired himself out so much in the first round. Alex was able to kind of stuff the takedowns later in the fight, and it ended up being a major factor in him getting the win, really.
I 100% agree. Like, he got tired and he fought from minute one like a guy who knew he was going to get tired. Like, there was a situation in round one where I think he could have gotten the finish, and if that was at sea level, I think he probably would have. Like, there was a time where he got the if people didn't see it, he got the clinch immediately. There was a few minutes of clinching for Blachowicz, and then he took Pereira down. Like, Pereira did some, good takedown defense against the cage. He did well, but when he did take him down, it looked easy. It looked like, okay, he's just going to continue to do this. And then he got his back, the body triangle. And Pereira got in this very good defensive position on the ground where, like, his shoulders were protruding so much that he couldn't get rear naked choked. And it was like, all right, he's found himself in a great position. And then on commentary, DC was like, he needs to pull Blachowicz down out over the top of him. And then he obviously heard him, did it, and like very nearly got choked. It was one of the funniest moments I've seen in a long time. But he didn't get choked in the end. He stopped. But like, in that position, normally Blachowicz either would have one, choked him, or two, the second he stopped him, just postured up. He'd him flattened out and just landed loads of strikes. That's the thing for me.
Why don't you just move to try and flatten him out a little bit sooner than what he did? After a while you kind of get a feel whether it's going to, like, sometimes with kind of submissions like that with the rear naked choke, it can happen either really fast. It's very rare you kind of see somebody wearing somebody down and getting a choke. It happens from time to time when there's a good bit of a discrepancy in the grappling department, but like, you could see after maybe a minute or two that Jan was running out of kind of setups off the back of Alex Bahia, and at that stage you need to abandon the submission game and, like you said, flatten him out, land some shots, or even try to land some shots.
Like, I think he was too tired. Not even like, tired. I think he was too worried about his gas tank to unleash loads of strikes. Like, I think he thought he was going to tire himself out.
The cage wasn't helping him now, but like, you can move to try and get away to the cage. You can roll Alex on, per se, roll yourself onto the mat and put Alex facing the ceiling rather than facing down on the mat, to change that position to try create a scramble. It's like you'd feel somebody that would have a better grappling would take more of an advantage in those kind of situations. But like you said, credit to Alex, he stayed calm. He stayed defending the takedown, or defending the choke, and then going on to defend the takedowns as well. But I mean, he didn't look exceptionally good in this fight either, if we're being honest.
No, it was weird because Blachowicz could have won the first round of 10-8. It had 2 of the D, so you consider it. Didn't have enough damage, so it was never going to be given, I don't think. And in rounds 2 and 3 were like relatively close. Round 2, Blachowicz was winning on the feet for most of the second round. Like, he was landing the better shots. That left hook was landing over and over, and like, his shots I thought were kind of clearly more damaging, but he didn't land loads, maybe 3 or 4. And in the last kind of 90 seconds of the round, Pereira landed some very good shots, landed a lovely jab at one stage, and I think it was enough to steal the round. But if you score that for Jan, I have no real massive argument. And I would say the same for the third round. Like, Jan was winning the first few minutes of that. Pereira came back. I thought Pereira did land, some very good shots in the kind of middle to the end of that, and then there was the late takedown for Jan, which did nothing really there. But like, let's say you had Jan 1 or 2 shots ahead, he gets the takedown. It seals the round for him. I suppose doesn't win him the round, but just keeps him ahead. I can absolutely see that. Like, I can see a 30-27 Blachowicz card here, but I scored a 29-28 Pereira. I think that's the smart judging, the good judging, and I think they did get it right. But yeah, it was a good performance because this is the first real mixed martial artist that Pereira's ever fought, and he won the fight, so you can't complain too much about it.
his best shot, I think, in general, obviously his left hook is much talked about, but his low calf kick, Alex Pereira's low calf
Very
kick,
good.
is unbelievable. It's so well hidden. There's very little movement with it, but it lands in such force. Like, I remember when the first one landed heavy in the fight, you could see the welt on Jan's leg kind of grow immediately, and that was affecting him terribly in the fight, which, you know, when you're not able to put any power on or kind of weight on that leg as well, it does take away from your grappling a little bit too when you can't kind of force the takedown. But that was an excellent shot, and Pereira hurt Israel with that shot as well. So he really relies on that, and he gets you concentrating on that, which does open up the punches. Now, he didn't really landed a couple of shots. His jab was really good tonight. I thought if Pereira worked off his jab a little bit more, he might have been a little bit more successful. But, you know, it was a classic clash of styles fight where, you know, Pereira probably felt a little bit wary of opening up too much, because every time we did see him do that, Jan was looking to try and take him down as well. But, you know, Pereira ticked off a few boxes tonight. We've seen a couple of wrinkles that we hadn't seen before in his game. We know that he has the heart and the will to kind of not be disheartened or demotivated when he does get taken down and taken down again. And we've shown that, you know, in the later rounds when Jan got tired, he was able to stuff those takedowns rather easily as well. You know, promising signs, and he'll be back again, and he'll be working, and he'll be getting better, and it'll be interesting to see what he looks like the next time in there. I definitely felt that he was more dangerous at 185, but I'm happy that he's made the decision. He was a big boy in there, man. He was huge. Up at 128, I believe his weight was, and it's like 228, this guy. Or 228, sorry. I think you'd be thinking this guy couldn't even be making heavyweight if he wanted to. Like,
he could. I thought it was funny in the comments they were saying, "Oh, it's because he's not cutting weight." It's like he fucking cut it.
He cut 25 pounds almost.
I wonder though. I wonder, is it too much? Like, I don't like the weigh-in pictures. Like, he didn't look massively different in them, and like, I don't know. I wonder, is it a lot of extra weight to carry? Because like, 185 to 228, what's that? 43 pounds? Is that it? Am I right? 28 and then 30. Yeah, 43 pounds. That's a lot of extra weight to be carrying, like, you know, on a fit man like that. So I want. Do you know what? As well, though, as you were saying, as you were talking there, I was kind of thinking, if his next fight is for a title, like, it could be Jamal Hill, right, who's obviously injured, or Prochazka maybe. Like, if one of the two of them gets back from injury, they're two fun fucking fights. Like, they're much crappier than them. Yeah, Johnny Walker, I'd like to see that as well.
I think
fun fights.
Does a performance like that warrant an immediate title shot with the way things are, and you have the trio at the top, and Ankalaev, Hill, and Yuri Prochazka? I think what you do is you probably do Ankalaev and Yuri for the title. You have Hill maybe come back and fight the winner, and then you have Pereira fight Johnny Walker, and kind of, just the kind of...
Or they're still looking for a main event in Australia in a few weeks. How about Adesanya versus Pereira 3, light heavyweight title on the line? How about that?
Oh my goodness.
That was my prediction from a few weeks back. So I wonder.
It wouldn't be on the realms of possibility, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with that now.
You never know.
There'd be uproar. There would be uproar.
I don't know. I don't know, would there? Because the last two Q&As, people have asked like about the light heavyweight picture, and my answer was, I don't think there's any wrong answer really, or no. You know, there's no wrong answer and a lot of right answers probably, because like, they have a very tough situation. Like, you have two injured champions. You had a championship fight that ended in a draw. And like, there's, God almighty, there's just so many different things that have happened. It's tough, like, really. What I don't know. Like, what did the answer you guys?
I think Yuri is probably, I think they're saying Yuri could be ready to go before the end of the year. So it's like, we're not going to have to wait too much longer for him to come back. And I think given the circumstances that he lost the title, he didn't lose the title, he gave up the title when he got injured. I think it would be a little bit unfair if he wasn't in the mix for the next title shot, if he was available, of course. And, you know, you can probably say the same about Jamal Hill whenever he comes back next year as well. You know, he gave up the title too, so he probably should be. But I mean, MMA and in the UFC, it's what have you done for me lately kind of a business, you know.
Indeed.
So anything could happen in there.
Speaking of what have you done for me lately, Wonderboy, and this whole situation. So, Wonderboy Thompson was due to fight Michel Pereira, obviously Saturday night. Pereira came in. What was it? 174.
174. Yeah.
So 4 pounds over the weight, 3 pounds over the with the extra pound allowed. And Wonderboy, who had and he tweeted this afterwards, and it was a good point in fairness that he made, who'd previously fought Darren Till on my 30th birthday. My friend Dahi got married the same night and I ended up missing it. But anyway, I'm still salty over that. He lost a close split decision that night. Even though Till had missed weight by like fucking 7 pounds or something, didn't he? And then Till got a title shot off of that. And he's like saying, that was, I got fucked over once. Why am I going to do it again? I'm 40 years of age. I have possibly one last run left in me. I'm not going to do it, right? And my first thought here was, he's 100% dead right, but. And that but is what everybody here knows it is. The but is the UFC are not going to take kindly to that, because the UFC want people who stand up and fight and fight in short notice and don't think about their career and think about the UFC and think about saving the card and the show must go on and all of that. Not about professionalism, not about what's right for you or your career or any of that. And we know that down through the years. Even if you're a guy like Wonderboy who's put on exciting fights and been an unbelievably good representative of the company and of the sport and all of that, they don't give a bollocks. And then what happens today? Wonderboy doesn't get his show money for turning up and making weight because he didn't want to take the fight, even though his opponent missed weight. It's nothing to do with Wonderboy that this fight isn't happening. It's all to do with Michel Pereira. Look, we all hate weight cutting and all, but if you sign that contract to make the weight and you don't make the weight, then that's it. That fight is off. It's it's at the beck and call of the other guy then if he wants to do it or not. But I think this is a sad and bad precedent to set if you're the UFC. But it's the precedent they want to set. You know, I tweeted it there earlier on, and it's like years ago. I think the UFC probably could have been, I suppose, articled into changing the mind here because it'd be bad PR. Now they don't give a shit about bad PR. Their president's a guy who slapped his wife around the place. They're taken on by Vince McMahon. They fucking Sean Strickland on the top of cards, and Conor McGregor never got done with him, or John Jones and all of this shit down through the years. They don't give one bollocks. They don't care. They don't care. Now, like, would I put it past them to actually pay him just to get a bit of good PR? You know, maybe they could do it by the time we stop recording. But the fact that they didn't even, cut this at the bud, they didn't even care about stopping this happening. It just shows exactly like what the UFC are. But the whole Wonderboy situation and all, do you think he did it right? Do you think all of the right decisions were made? What did you think?
Absolutely. Even forget about what happened with Darren Till in the past. It's like at this stage of your career, you can't afford to be taking chances like that, because we've seen it time and time again when you do take that chance. And it's not like Pereira barely missed weight, or it didn't look like he had generally really killed himself to try and make the weight. He, for a guy who was struggling to make weight, he looked like he was a guy coming in that was going to be on point. And you're 3 pounds over, you're going to be able to rehydrate. I don't know what discussions went on in between, but we were talking about how it could happen, and we've seen it in the past. If you accept the fight, you'll obviously take 20% of the purse, and then maybe you'd have Pereira weigh in on fight day at something like, I don't know, 180 or something like that, so he's not able to rehydrate as much. Obviously that didn't happen, but at the end of the day, Wonderboy lived up to his end of the bargain, and that's all that matters in this. And for him not to get paid by the UFC is scandalous but unsurprising at the same time, and it's a sad reality of what's happened. Hopefully they're pressured into doing the right thing, but they shouldn't have to be pressured into doing the right thing. Doing the right thing is doing the right thing, but here we go again, time and time again. They just want to put themselves in front of everybody else. And you watch the next fight that Wonderboy is put into now. It'll be very interesting because I can guarantee it. Yeah, I can guarantee it. It's not going to be a favourable matchup.
Yeah, I bet you'll be Rachmanov.
Yeah, Pereira is probably be the one that will get rewarded with another kind of, I don't know, similar fight to Wonderboy. And even if this fight was to be put together again, I don't think that Wonderboy should accept a new date for Pereira. You had your chance, you fucked it up, and now suddenly Wonderboy is the one that gets punished. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It absolutely stinks to the core.
It's like two of my kids fighting anyway. It was never meant to happen. So two of my favorite.
Yeah.
Won't be happening. Won't be fighting. Look, it's an interesting one. Ian Gary made the worst mistake ever. Like Ian Gary was like, "Oh, I want to come in and I want to fight Wonderboy," and Wonderboy had just turned down fighting a guy who was 3 pounds or 4 pounds over the weight. He's hardly going to fight you, who's probably weighing 200 pounds. He should have called out Michel Pereira. He should have said, Michel Pereira, I'll fight you on one day as known as you're overweight, I'm overweight. And that wouldn't have happened anyway, but that would have made more sense. But anyway, come on, Ian. And Ian's been making so many right moves. That Jeff Neal t-shirt and all of that. And see, Jeff Neal's coach went on with John Anik, and he was absolutely pulling. I was like,
they were triggered by that for sure. It was turned out to be a very
great move,
a very good move. So I mean, they got everybody talking about that. But that's hopefully Ian stays getting ready, and I'm looking forward to that fight against Jeff Neal down the line.
Indeed. Do you know one fight? We'll move on to this fight. I wouldn't mind seeing for Pereira if he moves to middleweight. How about Pereira versus Kevin Holland after his win over Michael Chiesa? I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. This was one of those ones where sometimes, just in like the Pereira fight there, maybe we didn't give Pereira enough credit for his win. I think Kevin Holland probably won't get enough credit for his win here because of how bad Michael Chiesa looked. God almighty, he looked like something out of 1993 or something, just like attempting to get a takedown, couldn't really get it. When he did, he got submitted pretty quickly. Looked like he couldn't throw a punch, just absolutely
looked
horrendous.
Like he wanted to avoid a punch or a kick to the face, like I've never seen him before. I don't think Michael Chiesa was a guy who generally did like getting hit in the face ever, but it was like to the extreme levels tonight where he was just kind of leaning and covering up and not offering any attack on the feet at all. He was trying to get that takedown, and then the writing was on the wall when he couldn't secure that. And I thought Kevin Holland did excellent. I was very, very impressed. I said to you, I sent you a message that I had Holland to win by first round KO, and all week I was like, kind of fancy him for the submission because we'd seen Chiesa get Darce choked a couple of times before, and then lo and behold, I said I didn't have enough balls to go for the submission pick, but he got the job done. And we were two guys there now that were getting fairly high up on Kevin Holland early in his career about maybe going.
We were dead right.
Yeah, we're back, baby. We are back.
The haters. We were right all along.
No, he's showing a level of maturity now that we've been longing for him to see inside the octagon, because we said in the preview shows that sometimes Kevin Holland is in the octagon and sometimes he's not in the octagon, and he was in the octagon tonight. His head was there. He had a good solid game plan. Stuffing takedowns early gave him confidence to open up, and he had a clear pathway for him, and obviously it was to put pressure on the strikes, which opened up the choke, and it worked absolutely perfect for him tonight. 100%. So credit where credit is due.
You hit the nail on the head there with the phrase clear pathway, because that's exactly what he had. Because Chiesa was backing up like Kenny Defender when Aaron Gallan came running at him, like
he is,
he was like he was just this was the type of fight where Kevin Holland didn't have time to be the weird Kevin Holland, because Chiesa was just there for the taking for the whole thing, and he did it well. Like, if you're an opponent of Holland, you're almost like, don't do that at any cost. Don't do what Chiesa did last night. Yeah, the more I think of my pick for that, it was a pretty bad pick, but I'm
wondering about Chiesa, and I think my wonders were confirmed tonight by how much does he really want to be in mixed martial arts, because he's got the broadcasting gig with the UFC. He kind of had one foot out, 2 years out, maybe wanted to test the waters again, but I would be I'd be even surprised if I saw Chiesa going in there again, given what I seen tonight. I mean, he didn't offer too much and it somewhat looked for a way out. I mean, it wasn't a good performance from him. 2 years you'd want to have a bit of hunger in you, but he didn't look like he wanted to be in there tonight. So maybe it's spending more time doing the broadcasting and maybe exiting from the actual competing himself should be what Kevin or Michael Chiesa should be doing from
I think we've
future.
We've very similar thoughts on that. He made your guy Vicente Luque look very good in a similar sort of way not too long ago as well, you know. So
he did. Favorite fighter ever.
Fair play to him. Derek Lewis, there didn't too much to see on Derek Lewis. 33 seconds, flying knee after about 2 seconds, and then just bet the head of Marcos Rogerio de Lima on the ground until Dan Mergliata stepped in, stood up, pulled off his shorts.
Mad.
I was hoping that the underpants would come too. I'll be honest. Imagine him there and just like, I don't want to see balls and dick hanging out, but imagine a jockstrap just and he's shaking it and everyone. It would have been hilarious. But brilliant stuff.
As Graham says, the minute Derek Lewis started to try and teach himself some technique, he was just losing a fight. Just go out there and be a mad bastard, and he did that tonight. It was vintage Derek Lewis.
No place on planet Earth has analysed Derek Lewis's game better than the SevereMMA podcast. We were right from day one. Derek Lewis needs to stop trying to fight well. If he tries to fight well, he's fucked. He needs to go out and mad bastardry from second one, and look what happens, Ian. Vindicated.
I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit worried when I seen the 6-pack. I was like, Jesus, is he taking this a little bit too seriously? And it's strange that you think that. It should be the other way around.
He lulled him into false insecurity. I'm going to fight well. Nah, fuck that. 1 second flying knee. Good luck. Brilliant. That's brilliant from Derek Lewis. I can't say enough. And he's back out of contract as well, he said, which is an interesting one with the Francis Ngannou, situation. But the problem is,
you want to see that one again after the way the first one happened.
Honestly, though, it's one of those ones. It couldn't be as bad as the first one.
No, and Derek is going to get paid if he did take that as well. So it'd be like, let's go in there and throw some bombs. If he fights like that, I mean,
but the problem is, you have to promote that, and it's going to be your pay-per-view. And if your PFL, like Dana White, is going to be coming out saying, oh yeah, their big pay-per-view is the most boring fight we've ever put on in UFC history. Good man, that's a tough one. If that fight happened, I actually think it would be an amazing fight if it happened again. I really do. I think it'd be a really fun fight, but I just don't. There's too much of a stank off the last fight to do that as your big pay-per-view. But Derek,
you might be off adding Derek Lewis onto the PFL and having him maybe pick up a good knockout or two where you can kind of maybe build it within the promotion itself. But Dana White is definitely going to come out and try and counter promote that big time.
I'd say Derek Lewis does re-sign though. As I said, that probably bought him another 5 pay-per-views in a row, so it'll be all well and good for Derek Lewis after that. Right, then we had Tony Ferguson and Bobby Green. I'm kind of glad Graham isn't on the podcast today because we know what we'd be getting here. We'd be getting Tony Ferguson was always this shit. What the fuck are two people talking about? Tony Ferguson was never as bad as he was tonight, I don't think, to be fair. Look, we all know Tony Ferguson. There's no need to go over it again. Very good fighter in his prime. Massively overrated in his prime with people thinking he would have beaten Habib and McGregor, whoever. That never would have happened. But he was a fighter who went on a 12-fight win streak. He was one of the top 5, probably 5 to 6 to 7 best lightweights in the world at one point. And now he's getting arm triangle choked by Bobby Green after losing almost all of the rest of the fight. To me, he just looks so slow, and the level of shots that he was taking, or not even the level of shots, the impact the shots had on him. He always took a lot of hard shots, but I don't know, it just rocked him in a different way. Plus there was nothing coming back. Like there was
he was doing the same thing tonight as he was doing in the Justin Gaethje fight when he was getting hit real hard. He'd shake his head out a little bit, just kind of what would appear to be like shaking off the cobwebs or something like that. And it's just so tough to look at. It's like the amount of damage that he's already taken and his attacking ability. All right, yeah, he dropped Bobby Green in the first round, but like that was all he showed. He's only has one ability to just get off one shot at a time. And Bobby Green was eating him up in response with just combinations and was winning almost every exchange, bar the one, like I said, he got dropped in. But it's sad to look at with Tony at this stage, even when you hear him talking like he's talking in the pre-fight press conference, although it probably is somewhat tongue-in-cheek, talking about winning 5 fights and going for a title. It's all a little bit delusional now at this stage, and I'm worried for Tony Ferguson now at this stage, because what we have with Tony Ferguson is a guy that lives and breathes fighting and, has got into a little bit of bother outside of the cage in recent times. And what happens to Tony Ferguson when the fighting is no longer available for him, when he can't do it anymore? Is he a guy that will get released from the UFC and retire and not fight again? I don't see that. I see Tony as a guy who'll want to remain competing because that's what he knows and loves. And, that's going to lead him down to getting more hurt and taking more shots, which is not good. And then if he doesn't have it, does he get in more trouble? Like he may seem like he's lost without fighting. And this is the dark road that fighters have to face when they're at this stage of their career. It's really tough to watch it all playing out in real time with Tony Ferguson right now.
100%. Yeah, and it's like, I saw Chael Sonnen speaking about this during the week, and like, Chael was a training partner Tony and stuff before, and he was kind of basically saying, like, I don't want to tell anyone ever to retire, because you're not just, taking away fights from them, you're taking away their livelihood, you're taking away, obviously the money they earn, but like what they're doing day to day, and like that's tough financially and it's tough mentally and all. It might be good for you physically, but it's a thing that everyone will have to face at some stage. You get into MMA, and if you don't know, you should know that it's a short career. And look, Tony Ferguson has probably done better than most people. Maybe not as well as he should have in terms of getting the big money fights against a Habib and a McGregor. Like, even if we think he wouldn't have won them, he still should have gotten them, and he never did, which is very, very unfortunate. But he's never going to get them now. It's like, it's just not going to happen. And yeah, look, I think a lot of people probably be afraid to say it, but look, we all know Tony Ferguson should be retired well before this. Like, he's completely and utterly shot. He shouldn't be fighting. Like, he really, really shouldn't be. And it's like, it's sad to see him losing to someone like Bobby Green, who's a good fighter, but like I just said earlier on, Tony Ferguson was a top 5, top 7 fighter. Bobby Green never was that, and never will be that. Like, and no disrespect to that, there's a lot of good fighters that'll never get into the top 5. Like, but yeah, he's definitely kind of fallen down a level there. But look, a good performance from Bobby Green anyway, relatively. Got to finish late. I had Bobby Green to win by decision as one of my bets for the week, and it missed by 7 seconds. So I had
it was my proper pick as well. 7 seconds. I had Bobby Green decision as well, and yeah, that's MMA for you in a nutshell.
Thanks, Bobby. Yourself and Harry are going to break down all of the rest of the card as I choke to death here. Just a few things on it. Gabriel Bonfim went to 15-0, looked really, really good. Kopylov got a lovely head kick knockout. Uros Medic got a good finish, kind of a comeback there against Schemmelsberger. Miranda Maverick got a good Amber win in there as well. And just to mention this Jake Matthews fight, this was the fight where there was a low blow that wasn't a low blow. That was a low blow. That wasn't a low blow. It was like the commentary, like, he kicked him in the stomach, so that couldn't be a low blow, even though like the heel clearly hit him low. And plus, do you know what as well is funny, right? We see this in boxing all the time, right? But the line, and I'd be interested to actually get a referee's word on this. Like, the line is usually, you know, they said like the strap of your shorts or whatever. Even the first kick that hit the body did hit the strap, like, and the second part definitely hit the cup. Just because one part of it's like, and I made just because one part of it's legal doesn't mean it's all legal. And I made the comparison when the fella got eye poked. Oh, one part of the glove hit him in the face. Sure, that must be legal, even though he's 5 inches in his eye. It's like, it makes absolutely no sense. But yeah,
I don't know what Joe was a little bit off for that, because it doesn't matter when it hits the cup. Like where the toe hit the stomach area or hit the midsection, but the heel clearly hit the cup, and that's contact, and that means that, you know, you have to stop the fight if he reacts. So how hard it was, maybe he was reacting.
He definitely played it up.
He's playing it up a little bit, trying to get a breather, but ultimately Jake Matthews pushed on and really upped the gear. And got a good finish. It was a good performance, but you know, Darius Flowers kind of came out of the traps there and just fought like a lunatic for the first.
I love the way I love the way he faked getting hurt and then tried to knock him out.
I loved it. Yeah, he played past him.
Darius Flowers, absolutely useless, but like loved him at the same time. Want to see him fight again. So that was that. Do you know, actually, the commentary, like, and I'm not going to complain about the commentary, but it was made sound so much worse by how good Brad Wharton was on the commentary at Cage Warriors 158. There was one point in the main event where he explained the whole judging criteria in about maybe 40 seconds in the middle of a fight while still commentating on the fight to a T. It's like, it can be done. It can be done. He was absolutely excellent. And let's talk a little bit about Cage Warriors 158. And it was a card, I suppose, that very much went to plan for him in a lot of the way. Although, like, they're still finding it hard, I suppose, to get the big wins for some of the Italian lads in Italy. Could you say was Shajak versus Michele Martignoni fight of the night on all these cards?
I thought Amanda Torres and Mikkel Desegni, the women's fight on it, was pretty good as well. But I thought from a kind of a technical kind of a standpoint, Shajak and Martinoni was a pretty good fight. You could probably label that fight of the night for sure.
Yeah, it was. I just thought the back and forth, and the fact that I think Hack in the very first round got Martignoni's respect. He kind of reddened the left eye and he was hitting him. It's like when you go in there against a guy who's like noticeably smaller, when you're coming down the weight, when the respect is gained, I think that was massive. And I think that was the start of the winning of the fight. Shajak is an underrated guy, and the amount of cardio that lad has, that he going as hard
crazy
in the fifth round.
He had a clear size disadvantage in this. Like Martinoni obviously moving down in weight, he looked huge in there. Now Shajak, he had the speed advantage, that was clear, and you would expect that as well. But you know, you don't always have the ability to land that power, like you said, to gain the respect, and he did it very early, and it kind of set the tone for the fight where, you know, Martinoni was always moving forward, was showcasing some really good head movement at times, it has to be said, but still the cleaner, more technical shots were landing from Shajak throughout the fight. Martinoni might get one or two off, but ultimately Shajak put a lot of his work together really well, and the judges did really well to kind of score it as a unanimous decision, in my opinion. I
would 100% agree with that. A good win, and I definitely think the right guy won that one. What about Ian Hill? Ian, you know, brilliant. He's called a professional, and there's no doubt about it. He is professional. What did Chris Fields put up? 6 fights in 12 months, 6 wins, 6 finishes, and against, you know, against better and better competition all the time. You know, he beat Martin Dembele last time out after beating Conor Dern and Dylan Douglas and a few more before that. But Demetriou Grelian going in at 6-1 after knocking out Adam Cullen to finish him inside. It was the first round, wasn't it? Yeah, after, you know, a bit of bother, I suppose, to start it, and then get the rear naked choke, which he took absolutely beautifully. You know, I suppose Team KF has had a lot of good new pros and amateurs, I suppose, come through in the last few years, and obviously we saw Ian Gary go on, and we've seen James Webb obviously fight for the title, and maybe he's different to these lads here, but Leon Hill, he seems to have taken that mantle upon him, and he is the kind of the guy making a name for himself and taking Team KF on his shoulders. It was a great performance and a great win for him, Ian.
It was brilliant. Leon's career was kind of put on hold there for a little while because he was suffering the consequences of concussions for quite some time. So he was unable to fight for a little while, but he's definitely made up for lost time in the last year with the 6 fights and finishing fights as well. And in this fight against Gurlian, he didn't have a go all of his own way. And what I was really impressed with is how calm and composed he was in those bad situations. Looked huge in there too. Talking about size differences in the main event, Leon looked absolutely massive in there. But, Gurlian came in, fought with pressure, tried to make it a fast-paced fight, but ultimately Leon Hill was stronger, more technical, and got a lovely rear naked choke finish. Didn't even need the arm over or under the chin, just squeezed that rear naked choke so well, and it was a really, really good performance. And it sets up for Leon a big fight now in Cage Warriors Dublin, I think, and he definitely deserves that for the work that he's put in there over the last year or so. It was a really excellent performance, and it was great to see Chris and Tom. They really live and die by their fighters, and out in the corner, they're devastated obviously when their fighters lose, and they're absolutely ecstatic to see, and it was great seeing Tom and Chris going absolutely mental out there after getting the win. It's brilliant to see. Like, you can feel the energy off that team. Like,
you can hear Chris Fields probably roaring and hear from Rome. But I think Tom King, does he get enough credit? Like, I remember after one of the events, I was talking to him for about an hour, and he's a very intelligent man, like just a very smart man. And a lot of, the SPG lads and all that have come through over the last decade have been under his tutelage with their jiu-jitsu. And I think there was always this thing about, if you come from Ireland or UK or what, you're going to be a striker. But I don't remember any of them getting destroyed in jiu-jitsu terms, and I think he is a large part to do with that as well. So
you look at the Shelley brothers there as well and see the work and how they've progressed, picking up submissions and everything. It's just, it's excellent to see, and there'll be plenty more on the way as well, I would imagine.
I think he's probably one of the most underappreciated guys in Irish MMA, I would say, Tom King. So shout out to Tom King.
Not to everybody who knows, but to a lot of people that might not know, he definitely is. So definitely shout out to Tom King. He's an OG of Irish mixed martial arts as well, He
is indeed, fair play. Elsewhere in the card, then Dario Blandi got a good win. There, Mason Jones bounced back again. It was it was a good bounce back win for him against a guy who's just completely at a different level. He just absolutely destroyed him. You talked about Leon Hill getting a place in that card. I think Leon Hill probably get a main card spot. I wonder, could Mason Jones get a main event spot even maybe in that Ireland card? I'd say
I'm wondering what you do with Mason Jones here. It's like, it's great that he got out there. He fought like a man possessed there last night at Cage Warriors, and he was much better fighter than Alexander Ribeiro, and that showed on the night. But the title is vacant at 155 now, if I'm not mistaken. You could create a vacant title shot there with Mason Jones and somebody. Whether I think I'd like to see Leon. Bit early. I think so. I'd like to see Leon get a few more in, and I think you could do what Cage Warriors have done before and bring in certain level of competition to fight Mason Jones for the title and kind of let the rest of the division sort itself out.
Would you draw Joe McColgan back for that one?
Oh, that would be a very, very interesting one now. So it would. Yeah, it would be. It'd be quite interesting, Joe back to fight for the title that he never lost. But
Vinci's lost as well. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. I don't think so, though. Somehow, I don't think so. But yeah, look, great win for Mason Jones coming back, and looking forward to his next one. As you said, Torres Designy, unbelievable fight. Pajani and Power. I was calling Bauer a possible UFC champion before this, and then he went out and lost. So. It doesn't look great to me, but still
could happen.
But you know what he showed here? It's that he was the dominant athlete in all his fights so far, and Pajani is a better athlete than him, and it showed. Because Pajani has the skills. Brad said it to me. He's like the Italian James Power, and it was that they were very similar. Like, it was around
100%.
It was a very good fight. Pajani was just a couple of fights ahead of him in terms of ability, wasn't he? And athleticism.
he's a really, really good fighter. It's not like James Power lost to a bum there now, or anything. Like 7-0 right now, and just matched fire for fire with James Power. You know, Power's probably going in there thinking he was going to be getting off the bigger, more impactful shots, but Pagani, he landed with just as much ferocity in those exchanges and deserved to get the win. Now, Pagani versus Leon Hill, you know, Andy was calling for that on Twitter as well. That is a great fight. That's a fight you can put on a main card on the Dublin show, and Jesus, I'd be watching that all day long. Two big prospects in the lightweight division, and both at 7 fights in their professional career. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. They're on the same kind of schedule of fights now as well. So, you know, that would be one worth keeping an eye on, and I'm sure Ian Dean is as well.
Indeed. On the other card there, then a lot of the Italian fighters won, so that's good for Cage Warriors. And all in all, back-to-back cards for Cage Warriors were pretty good, from 157 to 158. Bellator the card as well tonight as we were recording. What a time to put on this card in the middle of a UFC pay-per-view, when there was a big boxing match as well, I believe, on. And I think there was was there an AEW pay-per-view on, maybe just AEW show on? God almighty, could you? But Bellator kind of phoned it in until they got sold anyway. But Koreshkov and Larkin went to a split decision again in their fight. This time Koreshkov won, Larkin won the first time. Very surprising to me how Magomedov submitted Danny Sabatello early. I think I picked Sabatello coming in to win, but submitted him with a guillotine choke. Kanamanatabe, as was predicted, beat Vit Ortega, and unfortunately, I might be breaking news to you here, Ian. Am I? Maybe I just got the results up because spoiler alert for me. It was going to go watch these fights when we got finished. My apologies. They won't take long anyway for this one. 25-second no contest for the inaugural flyweight title. Is it inaugural or vacant anyway?
Yeah. No, it's the inaugural. Maybe, I don't know whether they had it in the past, but they've reintroduced it. Yeah. The
inaugural.
It's one for trivia.
It is. Eye poke 25 seconds in. I watched it there. It was an eye poke. I don't know.
Who got the poke?
Haraguchi poked Shinru. So
man, Haraguchi can't catch a break lately. No. Really, can he not? Jesus.
No. And then Patricki beat Roberto de Souza via leg kicks in the third round there. Congratulations to all involved in that. Next week, so quick look ahead to this. Sandhagen Font. Who was it supposed to be? Sandhagen and Nurmagomedov. That would have been a great fight. This is still a good fight. I look forward to it. Ian, you will have a big breakdown of this, so there's no point us breaking it down, but the fight I'm looking forward to, Tatiana Suarez, Jessica Andrade. What a fucking fight that is. Absolutely cannot wait for that. Do you know, this fight isn't actually that bad. Jake Hadley versus Corey Durden is on this card. Billy Q is on it against Damon Jackson. I love Gavin Tucker every time he fights. I know as a Canadian man yourself, Ian, you will like a bit of him.
Every time I hear his name, I feel so I was down watching the UFC pay-per-view Edmonton show when I was there a couple of years back. It was Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko 2 was the main event, and I always remember every time I hear Gavin Tucker's name, and I've probably said it on a podcast before, there was a guy sitting beside me and he knew Gavin Tucker, knew his team, and all event he fought maybe 2 or 3 fights before the prelim headliner. So there's about 6 fights before. All this guy was saying is Gavin Tucker, and he went out and lost that night in under a minute or something like that. I felt so bad for him.
Oh no, was that the fight? Didn't he fight someone and he got the shit beat out of him for about 20 minutes?
That was it. Maybe he didn't get finished, but he got an absolute awful hiding that night. Was it a fella? I can't remember. I need to go back and check. I should have checked before I said it, but fellow with a mustache, that's all I remember.
It was Ricky Glenn. That was the one.
Glenn.
That's the one. He got a 15-minute beatdown. That was one of the worst beatdowns in UFC history, if I remember.
I thought it was a knockout, but you reminded me there. Really bad beatdown, and felt bad for it. You know, I know that I got a taste of my own medicine this week. Went all in on Dusty P, and it didn't happen. So
me and James Power as well. Not a great week for us. No, not a great week. Lad, imagine now going on.
He'll be out after us tomorrow, Sean. He'll be
going on the betting show. This guy's gonna be UFC champion. He loses his fucking second Cage Warriors fight. Jesus. I may hold off on going mad like that ever again. Like that was too much. Anyway, 2 more cards as well next week. The playoffs start for PFL 7. Bubba Jenkins against Pinedo at 145. We have Silveira against Flores at 205, as well as Martin Hamlet against Impa Sanganai. And then there's a shitload more on it as well. Nate Kelly's not on this card, but he's on an upcoming card. Do you know what's funny as well, right? Chuck Campbell is on this. The Cage Warriors 205 were from a while back, so I was thinking Modestus Bukauskas' title, maybe he could be fighting for it, but it looks like he's in the PFL now, so he probably won't be. So that's an interesting move there out of Chuck Campbell. So it's I'm gonna have to preview that card next week, so I'm not massively looking forward to that, to be honest. There's only 3. No, there's 4, sorry. Gabriel Alves Braga against Chris Wade as well. Chris Wade replacing Mob Vlied, who was probably the favourite to win that fucking tournament, so that's very unfortunate. So there's only 4 tournament fights on that, which we'll see how it goes. And there's only 3 MMA fights on the one Fight Night 13 card, but there's some very good foot boxing and Muay Thai on it, Ian. Alizov versus Gregorian. I know you're fucking delighted for that one. The 155 pound. Everyone's saying like that's one of the best Muay Thai matches or kickboxing matches you can make in the world, isn't it? So, but
serious, yeah.
The MMA fights on it, John Lineker against J1 Kim, that is going to be an absolute fucking banger of a fight.
Give me John Lineker versus anybody, and
anyone.
I'm going to be
But Kim is your man who knocked out. Oh God, what's his name? Martin Wynn. He absolutely sparked him there like a couple of years ago. So he's a knockout artist himself, so that should be fun. Then we have Rug versus Buchecha. What a
Shawnee, they've been teasing this for us. I hope it happens. 3 or 4 events. I don't want to tempt fate. I do not want to tempt fate, but I hope that this fight actually happens, because it's going to be some spectacle.
It's going to be brilliant. But that's kind of the top and bottom of it then. So yeah, we might leave it there. We've great times coming up for Irish MMA. Obviously, you've a few interviews coming out. You have an interview with your boy Caelan Loughran out, which is great stuff. I know you got a lot of plaudits for that, for a very good interview. And he's obviously fighting in UFC Paris, and then you have McKee in Paris as well. You know, I think someone needs to get like a big Irish flag with McKee in Paris like written on it. Like you can have that idea for free. Anyone going over to the fights, like it's brilliant. But obviously we China last week, and we have loads of Irish MMA coming up. If people want to know about Irish MMA, and where would be a good place for them to go, and maybe if they want a little bit more Irish MMA than they get in the Severe MMA podcast, where could they go, do you think?
It's funny you ask, Sean, because yeah, it is. Actually, this Wednesday we'll have the brand new episode of the Owl Triangle out, and
who's going to be on it?
And Andy and Quilcha. We have no interviews recorded yet.
Good, that was a test.
Guests lined up. I'm not going to break the rule and announce any interviews before they actually happen, because you're good. I tested, but myself, Andy, and Quilcha will be talking about regional Irish mixed martial arts, UFC level Irish mixed martial arts, anything Irish mixed martial arts this Wednesday, and every Wednesday for every 2 weeks. You can catch that on the
haven't asked me on yet, for fuck's sake. You think that Ireland's number one journalist of all time covering mixed martial arts would be you have my number, lads. Like, come on. You think I'd be the first
for the Christmas special.
Christmas special. Although I was on the last Christmas special, wasn't I?
You were on it, yeah. So you can't
fair enough.
Throwing out accusations like that. You know what I mean?
I love giving out. I love giving out. But sure, look. Rasmus Holland, thoughts?
Big risk, big money, a lot of unknowns.
Big reward.
I'm happy that like I said, I'm going to say it out loud now and say it to the world. We sign Harry Kane as well, and we'll have Highland right under Harry Kane learning the tricks of the trade, and then in about 3 years when Kane is fucked altogether, just let Highland come in and take up that slack.
I'm already calling him LD Erling, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope.
No, there's supposed to be a big promise for him. Like he's supposed to be, but like, I mean, the Premier League has made and broke a lot of players, so we'll see. Like, it's going to be a lot of pressure for him when you have a big price tag and you're coming in, if you're going to be starting there and expecting to score goals straight away. If that doesn't work out for you, The English media are going to be on your arse, and then, you know, that's tough as a young player. So, you know, it'll be up to Ten Hag to kind of mold him in and fit him into the system and see what happens. Like, you know, it's time to get
Ten Hag out, I agree. Yeah,
stop it. You're not giving him any chance. You have to give him a chance.
I'm only joking. That's exciting, at least. Anyway, we have something to look forward to.
Some fresh blood.
Any other sports?
We were excited last year too when it was all over after 2 games.
It was, yeah. Any other sport that you watched?
Longer than 2 games.
Had any big matches over the last couple of weeks?
No other sporting events going on at all now over the last week. I have no idea. The Women's World Cup was actually going on. Yeah, Ireland were disappointed there as well.
The All-Ireland football final.
Definitely wasn't any hurling. Yeah, the Ireland football final.
The hurling? Now that you bring up the hurling.
No, there was no hurling on.
No, there was no hurling on?
No.
4 in a row, 4 in a row. Do you think we'll do it? Do you think you'll do the 5 in a row?
I don't know. It'd be hard to bet. It'd be hard bet now first. You almost didn't do the 4 in a row this year. A couple of
we only won by 9 points.
Well, you were close to kind of getting eliminated. You're only a couple of minutes from being eliminated altogether there at one stage. So you know you need a little bit of luck to get through, but ultimately they were the better team last Sunday, and that's it. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And
last year,
we have to take our bait.
Yeah, no. In fairness, now to Kilkenny, I take the business up, but there's no one better than Kilkenny to go out, give it their all, and if they're bet, and they'll come in, they'll shake your hand, and you know we'll go at you again the next time.
Even though there's loads of financial doping and everything down in Limerick, and you know JP is paying huge bonuses.
I just take back what I just said on Kilkenny Aaron like that. No, they're a shower of cuts as well as the rest of them.
What do you think behind closed doors and what you say in reality sometimes can be different things, Ronnie.
But sure, look, it was a good game anyway. For you were able to stick with us for 50 minutes, and you know we blew you away. Then last year I predicted on the show that we'd win by 14 points, and Brian Cody, boy, I do you know what Brian Cody is? He's Alex Ferguson, who won the Premier League, playing fucking Anderson and Tom Cleverley in midfield. That's what Brian Cody is like. He was some man to run Limerick as close as he did last year and keep him going for as long as he did.
Yeah, unreal. There's a picture of Cody after the game last year where he's talking to someone and the 2 hands are out and the eyes look up. Like there was only a couple of pucks of the ball or a couple of things that went wrong last year, and it would have been a magical way for him to go. But not to be this year, and that's it. It's going to be hard to beat Limerick now for the next couple of years now, to be honest. And that's the reality of the situation. They have to come through the juggernaut of the Munster Championship. If they get through that, it's going to be fairly straightforward for them next year as well, to be honest.
It's tough, and we leave it at this, but like next year Limerick have Clare and Innis, so like Limerick haven't won in Innis in years and years and years, so that's tough. And Cork are coming on hard. Like Cork's this under-20 team with your man Ben O'Connor and all of these boys, they look unbelievable. Or is he going playing rugby actually? Maybe we'll be alright without him, but like, it's going to be tough next year. O'Connor,
but you have the bull that's going to be coming through.
Bull. Darrow Donovan, the greatest man. Stop. Legend. Right, we leave it there. Thanks to everybody for listening. If you haven't followed Ian, follow him at IO'Neil MMA over on Twitter. Go over and subscribe to the Owl Triangle on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, all those places, and it's on the SevereMMA YouTube as well. And if you're not signed up to that already, please do. We're only like, how many are we? Like 150 away from 30,000 or something, so that'd be absolutely massive. And if you're listening to this, and we put this up on YouTube as well, but maybe soon, maybe the video will be coming. We'll see about that. My new internet's coming in a few weeks time, so hopefully then. And follow me at Sean Sheehan BA. I actually want people to follow me now because I'm trying to get monetized.
He wants to make money out of it now. I didn't want any new followers, but now you can make a few bob out of it there now. He's getting hungry, thirsty for more followers.
I saw someone saying they're going to unblock everyone that they blocked to get like hate interactions, and if I did that, I'd be flying past the 15 million. I have about 3,000 people blocked, I'd say. Like if I unblock all those guns, my timeline would be terrible, but like I'd be getting about 500 quid a month, like, so it'd be worth it, like, you know.
That's it. Turning hate into profit, John.
Hate into profit. That's what severe MMA is all about. It's actually the exact opposite. Some might say it's turning like love into fucking loss. Is what severe MMA is about. That's exactly it. That should be our new tagline. Right, go on. Good luck. We'll see you all next week. Shlán.